Welcome back, my friends, to another episode of Fun Ways to Make Builds in Hyperroll with Artark. Starring me, Artark. Let me just start with the usual plea. If you haven't already, please subscribe. If you like these videos, like, comment, do all the things to help the YouTube algorithm so the video can get out there and be seen by people. But let's get right into the meat of this, because this game does not commit itself until after this NPC stuff. The first augment presents itself, and High Tide is pretty good. It'll give me a Kaisa. I already have a Talia on the bench and a Malphite, so I can immediately head into Lagoon with this, and hopefully I can fill things out and make it actually work. I managed to 2-star both the Malphite and the Talia, and Lagoon isn't always super strong at the start, so I went ahead and put the Warmogs onto Malphite so that he can hold up longer. This will allow my backline to cast more, which will get me more gifts, which will help me get stronger earlier, which is really the goal with Lagoon. I don't often expect to win early, but when it happens, I'm happy for it. Since we're heading into a Lagoon build, the choice of items should not be that much of a surprise. Yep, the needlessly large rod, because we want more AP damage where possible. The Warmogs on Malphite is holding up nicely, keeping the team from losing, and that's what I'm hoping to do with Lagoons. I'm also getting off a lot of casts as I'm approaching 50, and that's after only 2 rounds of fighting. It usually takes a lot longer than that. With some lucky rolling, I've 2-starred my Kaisa and gotten a Zac, so now I have 4 Lagoons, which means more casting, which means more gifts, which means I'm going to be able to level up quicker. But I promise you, in the end, this is not just another Lagoon build. I've done that trilogy, and there's going to be a twist coming up a little further down the road. For our next item, I'm really hoping for something like a Tear or a needlessly large rod, but no such luck. There are a lot of AD-focused items or tank. I'm wanting to enhance this backline that I have now, which is AP based, but I'll take the bow for the moment. The High Tide is certainly working out great as a first choice that I made, because it is allowing my backline to cast a lot, and that Warmogs on Malphite is holding things in place. And even when things get a little crazy and it looks like I might lose, Kaisa is just able to get off the cast in time and survive with like 1 health. And now let the fun begin. For the first time this season, I see the Dragonmancer conference augment that has just been added, which will give you an additional Dragonmancer after every single round. You get an additional Kaisa. I had picked up a Lee Sin just to give Kaisa the Dragonmancer buff, and that was my bonus there. Now, my plan at this moment is not to pivot to a full Dragonmancer build. I want to stay with Lagoon, but put enough Dragonmancer in it to make Kaisa really, really strong. Although this true Dragonmancer team is going to be able to issue my first defeat. Next item, again, will be an easy choice. The needlessly large rod I can combine with the other needlessly large rod and give Kaisa a Rabadon's Death Cap. That's going to be very useful. I'm hoping also to get the blue buff on her so she can cast even more often. I did manage to gold up my Malphite and put a Sunfire Cape on him so he can be more tanky in that front line. I want to try to get to 6 Lagoon and 4 Dragonmancers. I hope that will give me enough additional attack speed and AP via the Lagoon buff and the additional AP via the Dragonmancer buff to make Kaisa a real powerhouse. But right now I'm questioning the whole thing. And as I mentioned in my big roundup video, and should be pretty evident here, Dragonmancer is a pretty popular trait. We're seeing it a lot. This one has a very strong Kaisa in the back with some great items. Luckily, my front line is still really strong and able to allow me to get through and beat them. It's time for our final augment, and the first selection is nothing I really want. So I re-roll, hoping for something, and it's nothing I really want. I decide to go with the RNG component grab bag in the hopes of getting a Tear out of there that I can put on Kaisa to make the blue buff, but no such luck. I go ahead and put out Nyla with a couple of good Nyla items, and that brings me up to the 6th Lagoon. All I have left to worry about is getting to my 4 Dragonmancers. The one thing I'm really lacking in this build is some healing. I wish I had gotten a 700 Thrill of the Hunt or even a 400 Thrill of the Hunt to allow me to get some burst healing. Luckily, the team is strong enough that they're able to take this group out. It is Treasure Dragon time, and the one item I really want is a tier. It's not in the first group, but the Static's Favor could be interesting because it would weaken the entire opposing team in terms of their magic resist. But I'm looking for that tier. All of these items are actually great. The Rabadon's Ascended Death Cap would be fantastic on Kai'Sa, but I want that blue buff. So I'm gonna keep refreshing, and hopefully I can pick it up so that she can cast more often. But there comes a point where you just have to say, I've rolled enough, this will have to do. The Glamorous Gauntlet will give Kai'Sa some really good casting power and crit potential. So I'm going to go with it and then just go with the Spear of Sojin to help her cast faster. And as I mentioned, Dragonmancer is a really popular trait. They have a 3-star Karma in the back, but no real items on her. And as we know, she can be really, really strong as the Dragon Blessed hero with the right items. For our next item choice, it says, hey, you want to tank up your front line a little bit? And I said, yes, I actually do. So I go ahead and get the Warmogs and put it on Zac along with the Ionic Spark. I can go ahead and put some items onto Volibear that I can just reforge and see if I can get exactly what I want. A ZZ Rot will work great in the front line and continue to hold things in front, and a Spear of Sojin great in the back line for additional casting and gifts. And we finally get to face something other than a Dragonmancer team, but dare I say, I don't get it. They sacrifice one champion to only pick up one item, and while their Aphelios is really strong in that corner, I feel like they're wasting the entire Darkflight opportunity. They did beat me, so I guess I can't say too much, but that's not the way I would have built it. Now this was a temptation I could not resist. I got the chance to do a 2-star Sohm. So I feel I had to put them in and at least see how it changes the team. So we're going to put Sohm in and pull a Dragonmancer out, and for the moment we're going to go to 8 Lagoon, 2 Dragonmancers, and see how that works. And while this seems to start off strong with my front line holding them and Sohm able to cast over and over again, it's just not enough. They're able to get into my back line, ultimately killing my Kai'Sa and then taking Sohm down. So experiment, not so good. So this is the real critical decision moment for this build. Do I put in an additional Lagoon and go up to 9 Lagoon and keep with the 2 Dragonmancers, or do I completely pull Zac and switch over so that it's 7 Lagoon, 4 Dragonmancers? I don't want to give up that 2-star Sohm sitting in the corner. I know he can be really strong, but it's a matter of how well the rest of this will work. The final item gives me something I have desperately been looking for, and that is some healing on this team. Putting this on Sohm will provide critical healing to the front line when it needs it most. I decided to wait one more round before using the Champion Duplicator, although I probably should have before this just because I'm in danger of going out, and when you're at 2 health you do anything you can to stay in. Luckily I faced a team I could beat, and so I'm able to get into the top 4. Now I just want to do a little rolling and see what I can get before committing to the Champion Duplicator. If I can pick up the 2-star Yasuo, then we can go ahead and use the Champion Duplicator to give us our gold Kai'Sa. As you can see, this is a really tight top 4 with a couple people at 4 health and a couple of us at 2. So barring any Soraka miracles, this will be over in 2 rounds. It's me squaring off here, them squaring off, and then the winners will face each other in final combat. And while I would think that my gold Dragon Blessed hero with the Rabadon's Death Cap and Glamorous Gauntlet would be the leader, it's actually Nyla who takes control of the match. And it's down to us versus the Darkflight team that I just don't totally understand. I feel like the ZZ Rot is not being used to its full potential. That item could absolutely clog up another team, but instead it kind of fizzles out as the ZZ Rots go down really quickly to my champs. And this time, Kaisa holds on until the end and is able to finish it off, leading the damage charts with a heck of a lot of damage. Hope you enjoyed this video and had some fun watching it get built, and as always, hope you have an absolutely awesome day.